We're living in a nightmare.
I heard the dog. I was afraid it was one of the children.
I can't take it anymore.
I'm scared of that dog.
Excuse me, let me have a chance to say something, please. I would appreciate it very much.
My baby,
That's
my
completely
baby.
unreasonable.
If you want to fight, I can get you boxing gloves, but we're not here for that. My first case ever with worms.
Come here, Sophie. Get him, Rusty.
Can I say something?
No. If she hadn't had an oral agreement, how do you do?
The Animal Court is now in session. The Honorable Joseph A. Wapner, Judge presiding.
I know you've all been sworn, and I have read your complaint, ma'am. You're not suing the child, are you?
I'm suing the parents of the child for the child's deed.
And you're saying that their dog damaged your dog, or did it?
It damaged the dog initially, which led to its death.
Okay, what kind of dog was it?
A basset hound.
Where was it?
At my home. I am disabled.
In what respect?
I had a liver transplant, and so I don't do much at home. It was about 5 o'clock, and my son had just come in from outside playing, and he went into his room to get another toy. And my son is Adam.
Okay.
And he decided he wanted to go back outside, and as we were both going...
How old is Adam?
Adam just turned 11. And as we were in our living room going towards the front door, because we saw Kip, the young boy, he's a 3-year-old, the neighbor next door, he was going towards our front door. And our
He was
dog...
coming up to your house?
Yes. Our screen door was closed.
Okay.
It is always closed. The regular door was open, but the screen door is closed. Kip let my dog out.
Are you saying he opened it for the purpose of letting the dog out?
Probably not, but that's what happened.
Well, I understand, but there is a difference.
He opened the screen door. He has never approached my door before. He is always on my property, which is a problem for me.
Did you ever tell his parents that?
Probably 30 or 40 times, and I'm not exaggerating.
When the dog got out, what happened?
Well, my son initially ran in front of me, but slipped on water that came from his squirt gun, which was right outside. And he fell on his knees, and he had cut up his knees a little bit, not badly. But as he was laying on the ground, I took off and ran. Now, I'm not capable of really running, but I ran for my dog because she's not one to return quickly on her own. And she ran over to their yard, which is very close to ours.
Those are pictures of their yard?
It's a picture between our house and their house. As I got over there, I witnessed their dog, Miffy, with its mouth around my dog's head. My dog's name is Tootsie. Her entire head was in Miffy's mouth.
Is this the dog, the Chow?
Yes. And I was screaming, pull the dog, and as I was screaming that, my next door neighbor, Jesse, came running.
Where was the Chow?
The Chow was in their yard, in their front yard, on a leash being held by Harumi.
Okay.
Next to them lived Jesse, and my daughter was over there. This is Samantha, my daughter. She was over there talking with Jesse, and they heard the commotion, and he ran over quickly. I'm unable to lift my basset hound. She was just too heavy for me. She weighs 55 pounds, or weighed 55 pounds.
You have pictures of the dog?
Yeah. This is Tootsie. This was a gift on my birthday this year. And those are my 2 children.
Mr. Friedman, were you holding the dog on a leash?
I was not present at the time. I like to give my wife's opinion first, and then I'll...
Were you holding the dog?
Yes, I was.
The dog was on a leash?
Yes.
How long was the leash?
How long was it? I was holding him like this.
Yes.
So
There
I was
a
just holding
slack
him.
in the leash, so that...
Well, you can't have a dog right up against you, otherwise...
No, but there was a loop of leash that she could have pulled back because Jesse and I were screaming, get your dog, pull the dog. And she just stared at us in a dumbfounded position and looked at us.
Because
and
my
Jesse,
dog is 95 pounds. When he starts to fight, I cannot remove the dog. It's too difficult.
And she says, well, I can't control him. And Mitch tells me, well, he's too strong for both of us at times, and we can't control our dog. And I'm thinking, well, then why do you have him out in public?
Well, it was on her property, wasn't it?
Yes.
It had just got on her property. But the
No, the
I was in my property.
Wait. I want to
tell your
understand this.
Bassett ran over there as
But she was holding her dog on a leash on her property.
this time.
I only want to talk about this one time, at least for the moment.
She was holding the leash.
Right, on her property.
Yes.
Okay. What are you contending is their negligence?
Their negligence is they have not properly taught their child to continue to come over to my house after time and time again that my husband and I have
So
asked them.
you're saying their negligence is allowing the child to come onto your property, open the screen door, and allow your dog to get out?
And the dog on my property constantly over
Well, the
there.
dog wasn't on your property here.
I object, Your Honor.
Wait,
what you're
don't
saying. Sorry.
object, because if there's any objecting to do, I'll do all the
I
objecting.
apologize, Your Honor.
And you don't have to apologize.
Okay.
It's okay. It's a natural thing to do. You probably see it on television all the time.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
This particular time, my dog was on their property because their kid opened up my door.
I
Had no
understand.
right to do this.
Adam, let me hear from Adam. I just want to talk to you about what happened on this day. How did the door get opened?
Well, the kid, he came on our porch and opened up
Did you see him come on the porch?
Yeah, I saw him through the window because I was right
Where
there.
was
when-
your dog at that time?
At the door. He barks.
What's the name of your dog?
Tootsie.
Tootsie. Did Tootsie run over to their house?
Yes.
Did you chase him?
Yes, but I slipped.
Did he go over to the dog?
Yeah, she did, but she was just trying to be friendly.
I understand. Okay. She was trying to be friendly. And then what happened?
The dog just attacked her.
It was such an intense mauling. I actually thought I was going to faint because I had not seen something like that. And Jessie came over and quickly bent down and picked up Tootsie for me. She was bleeding, and we got her back to the house. And just then, my husband had come home, and I got out some peroxide and dressed her wounds. She had puncture marks on her neck.
Did you take her to the vet?
Yes.
Do you have a vet report?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a list of your damages?
Yes, I do.
I
The
wanna
vet report is of
I want to see both. The list of your damages too, please.
All right. The vet report was when we took her when she became paralyzed. It was an emergency the following week. She was a very healthy dog. I don't take her out much. It was a gift to me for my transplant to keep
Okay.
me well. And what happened was she was showing signs that something was wrong on the Friday the 3rd. She wasn't able to move around. She was pulling her back end, and my husband and I immediately took her over to the vet.
Okay. Let's leave it at that for a moment. This gentleman, what is your relationship to the plaintiff?
I'm the neighbor. The day that all this happened, I was in my garage. The dog is constantly loose in the neighborhood, and it is very vicious.
Did you see the
Yes,
particular
absolutely.
incident?
When I heard the dog mauling something, I was afraid it was one of the children. I came running around my house to see their dog on top of Tootsie tearing up this dog. And this lady was standing there. She didn't have the dog on a leash. She had it on a clothesline. When I went, she was standing there. The dog was from here to the floor. She was not trying to hold the dog, restrain the dog. She was watching the dog attack the small dog. I screamed at her, "Get your dog back." And she just stood there. Lori thought I was talking to her.
Did you make any attempt to get the dog off?
Yes. As soon as I yelled, the dog stopped. And she just sat there and looked at me like, what can I do? I mean, she didn't say
Did you make
anything.
any effort to pull the dog off?
I couldn't stop the fight. I tried to hold the dog.
She made no effort.
He's 95 pounds, very heavy. When they start to fight, there's no way I can hold the dog.
But when I ran
And
up,
besides that, I had a dog bite before. I was afraid if I go in the middle of the dog and separate them, I get bit. So I didn't want to do it.
How do you arrive at this $5,000, ma'am?
$1,134.80 is what I had to put out to take the dog to the vet twice and have her put down.
All right, go ahead.
I also bought a new basset hound the same day we put her down because it's necessary for our well-being to have an animal. It just keeps us going. And we had seen her over the last month. We walk.
What are you asking for that?
The basset hound total came to $665, and necessary equipment I had to get immediately to put the baby dog in, the puppy, which was $86.55. And the rest of the money, Your Honor, is coming from the fact that we're living in a nightmare daily. I've got psychological problems to help my children. I mean,
Have you been to a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
I've talked to my son's doctor, and about some of the things I can do. He's written a letter to Tootsie. It helps. We talk about it.
Do you have
the new puppy we have?
How long have you had the new puppy?
A month. We got her the same day we put her to sleep. I have some beautiful pictures of her. Her name is Honeysuckle. Nothing's going to take place at my Tootsie. It was given to me to get well with my liver, and my children, whenever I'm in the hospital very frequent. She supplies a lot of care and love to them. And right now it's a lot of work for me, this little puppy, but I need to do it for them because it's time that I didn't expect to have to give. I'm giving 24-hour-a-day care for her, like I feel the Friedmans should be doing to Kip, the little boy, and the dog. I've asked him so many times to keep him off my property, and I keep saying, Elon, what am I going to do? I can't take it anymore. I even went to go get a restraining order, but I couldn't afford $220 just to take it out.
Okay, Samantha and Adam want to tell me something.
Can I please stand next to my mom?
Samantha? Go. Come up here, honey. What do you want to tell me?
I just wanted to stand next to my mom.
Oh, that's fine, honey. You're a good daughter.
Thank you.
I'm sure she appreciates it. I think it's wonderful. I'm sorry, Adam, that this has affected you, and it's just something I guess you have to go through. I'm sorry about it. Sir, I haven't called on you at all.
I'm Lori's husband.
Okay.
Speaking personally, I know that we don't get any sleep because that's what happens when you have a puppy. You know, when you have a grown dog, it sleeps at night. So for me, it's not so bad, but my wife needs to get as much sleep as she can. But I think it all revolves around three facts, and that's fear and irresponsibility, probably the most important thing that she has. And at 10 o'clock on Sunday when we had to make the decision to put the dog down was one of the hardest things we've ever had to do.
Mr. Friedman, yes, sir. The plaintiff has said that 30 or 40 times she's told you or your wife about your child being on the premises and nothing's been done about it.
That's not true, Your Honor.
What's not true?
She has confronted me several times about keeping my son off the property.
Yes.
And it hasn't been 30 times. It's been at least maybe 4 times. I have gone out of my way since the last time that she told me about keeping my kid off the property. I have absolutely kept him off the property.
Except for this incident.
That's right. I make sure that he is not on anywhere near that property. She's told me, like I say, 3 or 4 times. I've gone out of my way to listen to her complaint and keep him off the property.
That's not true. I apologize.
It's so untrue,
The kid
sir.
is over in my house also. The kid has been out in the middle of the street. He has no control over the child and what it does.
Okay,
not
all right.
vicious.
I've heard. Go ahead.
Your Honor, June 25th, the attack took place. On July 5th, the dog was put to sleep. On July 9th, Miffy, their dog, was standing in my garage. As she went to go get on her bicycle, she darn near fell off the bicycle and she ran into the house. Kip was standing right next to the dog in my garage. So I ran over to Mitch's house. He was on the phone. He says, well, wait a minute, I'm on the phone. I said, Mitch, I can't take it anymore. Your animal and your child are on my property. Would you please stop it? I can't take it anymore.
Am I to understand that after this $1,134.80, the rest of the $5,000 is for negligent infliction of emotional distress?
Absolutely, Your Honor. That is what I tested to right now.
That's not what you said in your complaint.
I might not have been able to fit it all in. I remember only having a little bit of space.
Adam, you get the last word.
I'm scared of that dog. I can't even play with my sister or go outside.
I want to ask you about the kind of a leash that you say this dog was on.
It's an animal cable chain. So if you go somewhere that, it's a little bit longer than this. It's longer than this.
And
So-
she told me she never saw anyone open the door. That's what she said at first. She
Who
keeps
said?
changing story.
I have never wandered from my story. Kip
Wait a minute,
opened
wait,
my
wait,
door.
wait.
We haven't even told our side of the story yet. We
Okay.
haven't had a chance to
All
speak.
right, yeah.
She told me that my son had opened her door and let her dog out and provoked her dog came onto my dog's property, who was on a leash, provoked my dog, and he defended himself like any other dog would do. However, I asked her, did she see him open the door? And she said, no, I did not see him, but he did it.
I did not
Okay,
say
that was the
Your
first
Honor.
time.
That
and
was
then the
first
story
time you said that
changed.
you sorry
You
changed
are
next
so
time.
wrong.
Also, she also claimed that the dog was okay based on our inexperience. She did not need to take him to the vet. So she did refrain from the vet at that time. Her two doors, excuse me, let me have a chance to say something, please. I would appreciate it very much. Okay, her doors are, there's two doors, and she has a picture of the doors. One's a screen door and one's a regular door. They're always closed and locked, usually all the time. And her air
But you don't know what happened on this particular
I
occasion.
don't know, Your Honor, you're right.
How did the dog get out?
How did her dog get out?
Might be a
Nobody
door was
knows.
ajar.
Oh, my
I
You don't know. You
She
weren't
put
there.
the responsibility to
Wait
her.
a minute.
We don't know how the dog got out, but no one saw him open the door.
My
There's-
son and I saw him
Oh,
open the door.
Then the story changed.
Yes.
Let me
I saw
explain
through the
to what I've
window
heard
Kip
from when I
opening,
spoke.
turning the
Okay.
knob. I saw Kip through the window, turning the knob.
That's why we ran so quickly to grab the dog.
Okay, then when she told me the next time after the dog had died, we went on a trip. And then when we came back, I witnessed Mr. Just, the dog was actually walking him. This was like 4 or 5 days after the incident. Dog appeared extremely strong. And then when we returned from our trip on the Pismo Beach, which I've showed you pictures of just
Are
now.
you denying that the vet put the dog to sleep?
No, I'm not denying that
Well,
whatsoever.
then what are you arguing about?
I'm not arguing.
Well, you certainly are. You're talking about the dog walking 5 days afterwards. What's the point?
The point is, our dog was on his property on a chain. No one actually physically saw our son over there opening the door when I first spoke to her, but the story had changed when I came back.
Take a short recess. I'll come back and give you my decision.
Remain seated and come to order. This court is again in session.
I want to tell you from the outset that this is probably the kind of case that's the most difficult for me to decide, because I have to take my emotions and make them subservient. I am a father and a grandfather. Very impressive, wonderful young people, and as parents, you should be proud of them. And as far as your situation is concerned, that only evokes feelings of empathy. I have to feel sorry for your condition, and I have to only hope that your transplant was and is and will be completely successful. I have to hope also that your relationship with the new dog will be one that you had with the dog that you lost. Having said all that, I have to tell you, Kip here, this little one, is 3 years old. He's alleged to have opened a door to your home. I think there was testimony that he had to turn the handle on the door, but he'd never done this before.
Our door.
Your door.
He's done his door, but not
your-
our door.
Your door.
Right.
I'm talking about your door. Your door is the only one that's important here. But I would appreciate it, and I know it's difficult perhaps at times, but please let me finish because it's not easy for me. The law says that a 4-year-old or under cannot be held liable for negligence. That is his own negligence. And the question then arises, are his parents vicariously liable for his negligence. Well, if he can't be have any negligence himself, then the parents can't be liable for negligence because he didn't commit anything out of ordinary care, because he can't do it. He's too young. Please hold him. Thank you. Defendants haven't been shown to have been negligent because the incident happened on their property. Their dog was attacked by your dog. It may have been friendly intentioned, but I don't know that dogs understand this. Your dog at least came over to him. He was on his own property, on a leash, whatever, or a tether, or whatever kind it was, held by one of the defendants. I have to mention the negligent infliction of emotional distress because I want you to understand it. At least I want you to hear it. And I think you'll understand it because I think you're an intelligent person. You may not like it, and you may not even believe it after you hear it, but listen to me. In order to have negligent infliction of emotional distress, you have to show that there was a duty of some kind, there was some relationship because of that duty, there was a contract between you, or some violation of law, some violation of statute. And none of those exist. So even though I know you experienced emotional distress, you can't recover for it, or you couldn't, even if you had shown that they were negligent. So I have really no choice but to find for the defendants.
This dog is not good to people who don't know it, and I don't want it near my property anymore, and I don't want the child near my property anymore, but there's nothing I can do to stop it.
I'm sorry for the kids and the family that they lost their dog.
We loved each other. We played with each other. We just did stuff together, but I can't now because she's gone. It's been giving me terrible nightmares every night. It's horrible.
All I know is one thing. If these people don't watch their dog and their kid like people should, they're not going to have either one someday, only because an accident's going to happen and they're not going to be there to see it because they weren't watching them.
My dog's on his property, defending himself on a chain. That's how the accident occurred.
It's very hard.